So
Exactly.
if there's an institution that can print money at the heart of the economy, then it's effectively voter fraud, right? The more money they print, the more they're defrauding the voting mechanism that is the marketplace. And, as you're going through that explanation of the different individuals that are currently in charge, the word corrupt comes up a lot. And we know, what Lord Acton said, that absolute power corrupts absolutely. And if money, one of the things money is clearly is an instrument of power or a tool of power. So if we have corrupt money, it's not that surprising to me that we have so many corrupt characters at the top of the political hierarchies. So, you know, I would argue, as I do argue, that we need some incorruptible money to fix these problems, let's say at the root, rather than just hack at the leaves. Which obviously gets us into Bitcoin. And that's a place you've become increasingly popular is on Bitcoin Twitter, as a proponent and as a proponent that's seeking political leadership. So Bitcoin versus shitcoin. How do you draw the line? How do you talk to people about it? How do you think about it overall?
My perspective on that is, well, first of all, I call them altcoins. And I support Bitcoin. I love it. I think it's the future. It's a great commodity, great store of value. Families can invest in it for their future. It's got 21 million Bitcoins. It's a hard cap, no printing. It's proof of work. So you actually have to put in energy to create value, unlike what the Federal Reserve does when they're printing money. And that's partially true because it does take energy to build the printer and create the paper and the inks and all these features that they put on the money. So yeah, that's a little bit of work. And so it gives it some value, but essentially it doesn't give it the value that we give it. And I realized that a lot of people have no idea how money works. They have no idea how the economy works. They don't understand what inflation is or how it's created, or why prices are going up on everything, not just bread, but rent. Why is gas high? And also a lot of that is tied into politics, policy, geopolitics. And that is also something that most people don't understand. You really got to be a nerd to get into those kinds of things. I'm a super nerd. And but yeah, I mean, I try to not rush into explaining everything to people right away, but I basically point out that Bitcoin is a solid investment because it retains its value over time. Not only does it retain its value over time, it grows in value. And right now, if somebody bought gold 10 years ago, I think they profited by $100 now. So if people want to invest in something that retains its value, then do Bitcoin, and it'll gain value over time. But even if you just want to store your money somewhere, I think it's a good way to go about that. As far as the other coins, which most people refer to as crypto, and I refer to as altcoins, is that they are centralized, they're controlled by people, they're created by people. And a lot of Bitcoin supporters actually refer to them as scams, or like you said, shit coins. And a popular phrase is Bitcoin, not shit coins. And I completely agree. I think it's a little vulgar to say it that way and deterring to average people that have never got into Bitcoin. But basically it's centralized. You have people that can shut it off at any time. A lot of them are hosted on Amazon, internet services, web services. It just makes me uncomfortable knowing that my wealth is tied into Jeff Bezos's businesses. He's really good at business, and I feel like he's using us to make money as well. He's really great at what he does. He's a great businessman, and I commend him for that. But I don't want to be one of the reasons he's successful. I don't want him to use me. I don't want him to use other people, which is why I discourage people from using altcoins, because they're not an investment. You could easily lose all your money. It's speculation. It's essentially an unregistered security. And people don't understand that. They invest this money into all these doggy coins and they lose money. You can't invest in a currency or coin or store of value that's controlled by people that started it to make money for themselves. The fact that they allocated 50, 60, 80% of those crypto assets to themselves before they sold it to other people, to me says their biggest goal, their intention is to profit from our investments. And a lot of these coins have no utility. They have no use case. They do absolutely nothing. I ask people, what is this for? Oh, well, they're working on a project and in the future, it's going to do this or that. Okay, well, how long have you been waiting? Oh, it's been a couple of years, but we're still waiting. It's going to happen. We promise. And you know what? It's not going to happen. Stop lying to yourselves. Stop waiting to get rich. There's people that are like, win Lambo. I'm going to be a multimillionaire. I'm going to have all this money to do all this stuff, live in mansion. No, that's not going to happen. That's going to happen for the developers that created this protocol, created this crypto. They're going to profit and you're going to lose. That's how it works. People profit from your loss. And especially people, they'll watch a few videos on YouTube and think there's some kind of super trader, super market trader, oh yeah, I'm so good. And then they lose all their money. I've seen it happen so many times. So I think it's important for people to understand the difference between Bitcoin and altcoins. So I think what people realize is that there's no fees to keep it. A lot of banks, a lot of debit accounts, they charge you a fee just to store your money. Savings accounts, you don't earn any money, you don't gain any money on those investments. But you keeping your money in a bank account creates leverage for bankers that they use to speculate on the market. And it doesn't mean that they're better traders than us. I mean, these people are geniuses, but they still lose. They still lose. And this is why we have to bail them out, because they make bad bets and they lose. So if those geniuses lose, then people without any experience are definitely losing. We just, we need to discourage people from getting into scams, Ponzi schemes, Bitcoin all the way. Don't fall for these scams. I don't know. I get so upset picturing so many people losing money, especially when they put in their life savings. So I'm sorry if I'm a little emotional about it.
No, I don't apologize. I think it's something worth being emotional about, and is the kind of triggers that internal sense of justice within us, right? It's an injustice when people are scammed out of their money, especially when it's done so blatantly and repeatedly under these different, I've heard it called innovation theater, where you put together the website and the roadmap and the product and the fancy deck and pretend like you're doing this, that, and the other thing, Partnerships are typically a big part of it. Just name dropping these giant recognizable corporate logos, and then raising a bunch of money off of largely retail investors and then just scalping them. It's ridiculous, honestly. And that is 99.99 to 100% of crypto, as far as I know. Now, there's 30,000 projects out there. I can't say with absolute certainty that 30,000 of them are scams, but I found it to be a very useful fiction for me to just go ahead and assume that and stay focused on Bitcoin and all of the things that means. Bitcoin means so many things for the future of humanity. It's like you don't even want to dilute yourself on some get rich quick scheme token.
Exactly.
What, and you mentioned this is the key point, right? That Bitcoin cannot, at least the core consensus rules of Bitcoin, 21 million in particular, nobody can do anything about that. It's not controllable by anyone. And that's the real value proposition. Whereas every other project, its core consensus rules or its supply cap, every dimension of it, essentially someone can control. Some entity, some individual, founder, foundation, whatever it may be.